I can start now. Hello everyone, welcome to our live stream. So today you'll be meeting the members of the primary ed team. Get to know us, learn what we do, and we'll be going over what projects we've been doing. So, hi everyone, my name is Lily. I'm an upcoming fourth year biological sciences major. And this is Jasmine. She's an upcoming fourth year biological sciences major.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm an upcoming second year statistics major.
Hi, I'm Winnie. I'm an upcoming second year applied math major.
And hi guys, my name is Amanda and I'm an upcoming second year mechanical engineering major.
So what is outreach? What we do in outreach is to create curriculum for students that are in the grades of kindergarten to fifth grade. The curriculum we create ranges from biology, geology, physics, computer science, engineering, and a lot more. Like it says on the slides, we want to inspire the next generation of scientists and engineers. So our main goal is to expose STEM learning to different communities by providing hands-on activities and help give primary ed students the idea that STEM is a lot more fun to learn about. Like based on my experience, I barely learned any science during my primary ed days and barely had the chance to do any hands-on projects. And when we did learn about science, it was all textbook based. Next slide, please. So prior to COVID, we were able to meet students in person through our programs such as Bitcart and Bitquest. We were able to present our slides in person and provide the materials ourselves. Bitcart was a program where we had members and volunteers go to an elementary school and visit classrooms to have students learn our curriculum based on what the teacher selected. I've attended a couple of the events and I always left with a smile on my face because the kids were like super adorable. And it just feels so rewarding to walk in and see the kids excited to see you because they want to learn and do hands-on science projects. Does anybody else want to talk about their Bitcart experience?
I didn't really do Bitcart, but I did something else called Bitquest. And it's basically the same concept, but it was on a Saturday. So parents sign up for a 2-hour session and it was like a 5-week program. And then they were doing hands-on activities such as the ones we just saw. So the making the boat, and they were trying to put their pennies in, and other activities like rocket science. It was really cool.
Jasmine, would you like to talk about your Bitcart experience?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Jasmine. I've been here a while. Well, not like here because I was late. But I joined Bit Project about a year ago. So I've done a lot of Bitcart events and they've always been really pleasant. Kids have always been really excited to see us. And they're actually excited to have us come and do the lesson and learn something new, which is really refreshing because you don't always see that a lot, especially with STEM subjects. The parents and teachers were also really appreciative and really enjoyed us coming in and kind of taking over the class for an hour, which was also really amazing. Like I had a woman come up to me in Panera because her daughter recognized us from her class and she came up and like thanked us, and both of them were really happy to see me, which was really nice.
That's so sweet. So like Amanda mentioned, our other program was Bitquest, which is an after-school program on Saturdays, and the students would come to UC Davis for 5 weeks. And based on my experience, it felt very good to see the work you've done being presented to the kids because they're usually excited to learn a new STEM concept every week. Like I'd be the one that would escort the kids from the registration area to the classroom, and they'd be so excited to learn a new topic and would always ask me, "Oh, what are we learning today?" And like, they have this little cute smile on their face. And like the volunteers were also having a good time with the kids. We'd have members from the DevRel team, And, not everybody likes to work with kids, but by the end of the event, you'd see like volunteers smiling and having fun explaining the material to the kids. Would anybody like to talk about their Bitquest experience?
I think it was kind of unfortunate that COVID-19 hit afterwards because, like, I remember like introducing Mary to Bit Project, and we were like really excited to like start a whole new semester and have like new projects to work on. But COVID, and so we had to stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I remember getting excited to actually do things in person, but I never got the chance to.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that we're in a pandemic, like we mentioned before, we are no longer able to host in-person events like we did in the past. So we had to think and organize of different ways on how we're going to do online learning. We know that online learning is not ideal in comparison to being in person because, like kids learn a lot better in person. I learn a lot better in person. I know many college students learn a lot better in person. But this is especially difficult when it comes to STEM because we believe that the best way to learn is to do hands-on activities. So we were like, okay, what are we going to do? But as a team, we decided to commit to remote learning and teach virtually. A major aspect we had to focus on was materials because in our Bitquest and Bitcart events, we were able to pass out, the materials such as copper wire and these tiny little cute robots called Ozobots. But, not every household has those. But since we had to move on to remote learning, we aren't able to ship the materials. So we made the materials accessible that most households should have, like paper, pencil, glue, tape, or ruler. Next slide, please. So due to our commitment to teaching our curriculum remotely, we have partnered with Microsoft to present our lesson plans by using Teams Live's event. Every member of the team has had their curriculum presented and tested out by the kids. We've had 2 programs, one in the spring and another in the summer. The summer one is almost finished. Our last event is actually this Friday. Each week is a different STEM subject. Like last week, we had a biology topic about rain and the water cycle. And this week, we'll be teaching about the physics behind a roller coaster, and the students will be building their own roller coaster made out of paper. Collaborating with Microsoft has allowed us to go globally and meet kids from all over the world. Like, despite being in different time zones, still attend our events and let us know that they had a wonderful time. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is a bar graph that records the attendance rate of our events. The blue bars are the events that we advertise locally, which is Davis and Santa Clara area. The purple bars are the events that are advertised globally. This caused a major spike in our attendance rate, and we got to meet students from all over the world, from England, Australia, like even from other states like Texas. It's very nice to know students from all over the world and like making sure that they're learning about science like and have fun like we did. Next slide, please. So the primary purpose of the primary ed team is to create fun and engaging lesson plans for many different STEM concepts. Each of our lesson plans follow the next generation science standards. All of our lesson plans have a hands-on activity included also. Like for example, on the screen, you can see that we had an astronomy themed activity where we taught the students about the different planets in the solar system. We also collaborate with the project design team, and they always design our slides and make sure it looks really cute, and the graphics are very educational. Like for example, here we have the sun and the other planets, and they're like drawn according to their size differences. Next slide, please.
Okay, so you may have already noticed, but most of our lesson plans utilize project-based learning. And project-based learning is a style of active learning where students basically work independently to solve some kind of problem. For us, this often means students are building something or creating some kind of hands-on project. And like, why do we use this? Why do we think this is a better way of teaching science? Oftentimes in science, it equates to book work or some kind of worksheet or sitting down and getting lectured at, which generally fosters negative attitudes and kind of builds this misconception that STEM is really difficult or really boring. And project-based learning stimulates the growth of critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, collaboration, time management, and even fine motor skills, depending on the project. So by using project-based learning, we hope to show that STEM can be fun and engaging and also support students in building like a solid foundation of skills. We also use NGSS standards in our lessons. NGSS standards are the next generation science standards, which are typically used in normal K through 12 classrooms. NGS standards are research-based, up-to-date science standards that essentially set expectations of what students for each grade should know how to do, and what scientific content they should be aware of. It also kind of helps us legitimize ourselves if we're using the same standards that, you know, people in real life actual classrooms do, and kind of makes us seem legit and like we know what we're doing, which I swear we do.
So as you can notice that these kids are the kids who have attended our past DIY lava lamp activity, which is the activity we'll do today. And I just have a question for like all of you guys. Why do you care about STEM education?
I care about STEM education since I am a math major and I really love maths, but it is really hard for me also. While working with younger students, they let me believe that STEM field is not like as hard as I thought when I was like their age, and it could also be really fun with like hands-on activities.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because as a stats major, I also feel sometimes that like math can be hard. And I also want kids to know that they are like they are capable of being good at anything, like especially anything in STEM.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then past that, I think, you know, STEM is all around us. And, you know, when you're little or you're curious about everything, and learning about science and math kind of helps you make sense of real world experiences you might have, you know, like why when I throw this rock, does it sink? That can be explained by like STEM concepts.
And another question is, how has working with the younger students helped shape your understanding or value of education?
So working with younger kids, I really like their energy. So when I am with them, I can basically teach them what I know. Even though I am an engineering major, I really love kids, and I think it's giving a sort of giving back to the community. So yeah.
Yeah, honestly, pre-Bit project, I kind of thought elementary school was like, oh, well, they learn how to sit up for 6 hours and, you know, not bite each other. And I think through doing this, I've come to realize that elementary school education is more than that. Like the kids are a lot more intelligent than me or other people tend to give them credit for. And, you know, they're really capable of doing a lot more than people think, and they're brilliant and bright and have so many great ideas, which is really amazing because I think we tend to like lose that whimsical, curious nature as we get older.
Yeah. And on this slide, you can see Lauren teaching the curriculum called Introduction to Functions. And this is actually our CS curriculum, which we teach through code.org. which is an activity that like a bunch of kids really do enjoy. So I have another question for everyone. What impact does this program or these workshops have for kids, parents, and teachers?
I think generally people really like our activities. So a lot of like parents give really good feedback. The kids enjoy it. We enjoy teaching it. So I think it's a benefit for like both the parents, the students, and us. And I think that like just having these programs available to the public for free is like also really important. Mhm.
For me, I like that there's a lot of interaction, like in comparison to us from just like them just watching a YouTube video. They can't have the person respond back to them. Like if they have questions, they could like comment under like the comment section, but like it might be a while until they get like a comment back. But for us, we can immediately see like their concerns, their questions, and yeah, like I feel like it's good that we're interacting with them, like especially those kids who really want interaction because they don't have that same in-person interaction anymore in classrooms. So they're talking to us, and we feel like like they're really sweet, and they're like, let's be friends, and like they tell jokes, and it's really cute.
Yeah, I could tell a lot of kids have a lot of fun sending in like their questions or whatever they want to say in the chat.
Oh, and all the fun facts. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's also like really fun to see some kids like comment below that this is really fun and this is like their favorite summer camp. I think it's really helped them to engage in the learning environments like with projects that they're like also having fun with.
Wait, guys, what do you think the most fun fact, the funnest fun fact we've included is?
The one that I could remember right now is like how fast rain falls from the sky.
How fast does rain fall from the sky?
Less than what a car drives on a regular city street.
I think it was like 5 to something, 5 to like 18 miles an hour. That's how fast rain
Mhm.
falls.
Yeah, I just remember that because I remember guessing like 50 miles per hour. Okay. Okay. So our materials, because of the pandemic, we like to keep in mind that not everyone has the opportunity to like go grocery shopping or like buy expensive materials that they might need to do some of these scientific experiments. So we like to keep our materials easily accessible and use items that would normally be in our kitchen cabinets. So specifically for this activity, for the lava lamp, we like to use stuff like oil or clear soda bottles. And if by any chance the students don't have these materials, we like to give alternatives, such as like for the effervescent tablets, salt would be another option. And for food coloring, it's not listed, but you could also use watercolor. So this is our objective slide. We like to get the students' feet wet and give them a brief overview of what they'll learn. And as you can see, the students would learn about density and polarity. And they get to do this by creating some fun project, which is creating the lava lamp. And the students also get to explore and understand the different definitions or the different scientific facts that are behind these cool looking things that they see in the world. We also like to ask the kids questions that will like help them create a hypothesis, and the students end up learning by trial and error because of their hypothesis. So let's say a kid guesses something like, do the liquids inside mix together? And they say yes. Then by the end of the activity, they will learn that they actually don't. And hopefully like these new things that the kids will learn from our lesson, they'll be able to remember it by the next time they actually learn about density and polarity in the classroom. So this slide is about one of the vocabulary words, density. And to a specific amount of students, some of them will think that like, wow, this is a big word. This is a word that I don't really know much about. So we try to give them a definition that is easy to remember, easy to understand. And if that doesn't work, then we'll give them examples or even a diagram such as this one that will help them like actually visualize what they're learning about. So this is a bit more about density in depth. And we like to split the slides so that the kids won't be too overwhelmed with like all this information at once. Again, this goes more into depth about density, and the kids will also be able to make more hypotheses and more connections between what they're learning and the things that they see in the real world. So as you can see, we show that high density relates to a bowling ball and low density relates to a feather. Winnie.
And for the slides, this is a discussion question about like what objects has higher density. The students are comparing what objects have like higher density and which one has lower density based on what they just learned. And they will also type their answers in the chats, and we will all discuss about it together to help them further understand the concepts of density. And since we're all college students, we might look more friendly and kids are more easy to talk to us. And these discussion questions could let them think about how density related to real life objects before doing our lava lamp activities later. Yeah. And this slide introduces another important concept of how does density help things float. It's introduced that when you mix two things together, the substance that is less dense will float in the one that is like more dense. The kids will draw connection with the lava lamp activity, and based on what we just learned, they will compare the density between water and oil and take a guess of, do you think oil floats in water? Why or why not? Yeah. This slide just introduced about how does density help things float graphically. For this one, it shows that oil floats in water because it is less dense than water. But like sand actually sinks in water because it is more dense than water. They might don't have sand at home to actually test this out. So we also include those graphics to help them understand the concepts that's showing. Yeah. And this slides introduce another important vocabulary in this lesson, which is polarity. And we tell the kids that a lava lamp works because of the differences in polarity. And it's also included in like an easy understandable definition of polarity. And for this one, it actually connects polarity with the lava lamp activity, by which the lava lamp is composed of water and oil. It's introduced that water and oil do not mix together in the lava lamp because water is polar and oil is nonpolar. They have the different polarities, and that's why they don't mix together. And this is an example to help them like understand polarity more. Yeah.
So thank you, Winnie, and thank you, Mary, for introducing the two concepts of polarity and density. So in this slide, we kind of bring these two concepts together. And after the slide, we are going to ask questions like, what did you learn? What do you think will happen? So in the next activity, I'm going to go ahead and lead you guys through like an activity that we do and go into the hands-on portion. Next slide. So here I have is like an empty cup. Because we're on quarantine, if you guys would like to do this activity together with me, you're feel free to do so. So I also have watercolor because I don't really have food coloring at home, and the tablet that I already crushed up, as well as the oil that I prepared in the plastic foam cup. So we're gonna fill the cup with oil about 2 3/4 full. So I'm gonna carefully open this and pour this in. I have my oil. Oh,
Same.
Mary, are you sharing the slides right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we need the slides anymore.
Okay.
So then we can fill like water. So I have like a bottle of water prepared on the side. And what we're gonna do next is fill it to almost the top, but make sure you don't go over it because it's gonna. So if you guys can see, like when I fill the water in, it separates like how we mentioned in like the polarity. And then we're gonna add 10 drops of food coloring or watercolor if you have any. So here I have blue, and unfortunately I only have a straw, so I'm gonna take a couple drops and add this through. So you kind of have to add like more than 1 drop because the color doesn't really sink through. It kind of floats on the oil part. Let me see if I can move this. Oh, I can't really. Ah. So we want the students to slowly add a couple drops. And while they're adding, we ask them to observe what they notice. So here we have a couple of food coloring drops that are just kind of in between the oil and the water. And then we'll ask them, hey, what do you observe and how can you explain why they float? So then we kind of give it a stir to it, so that kind of. And then we have our crushed tablet, and we then add the tablet in. So, or salt.
I'm gonna use salt.
Wow, that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Oh, that's too much.
Mary, we have the same salt.
Oh.
Nice, I have that too. Oh my god.
Nice. I don't think mine is doing much.
The salt
Mine
work
is
as well.
you need to put a lot. Mine is kind of working. I'll show it after a bit more.
Mine is almost spilling over. Yeah. So then this is our DIY portion of our lava lamp. Oops. Okay, it's spilling over. I need to dump some out. Whoa, that's cool, Mary. Oh my God, this is bad. All right, I did not prepare any napkins. But yeah, we're gonna have to clean that up later. So bad. Oh yeah, we do, so basically for our activities, we try to keep it like short, and because of COVID, we also try to keep it so that we can access these materials at home. So alternatives, if you don't have it, that's fine. And kids really enjoy it. So yeah, we can move on.
Okay, so after the kids did the experiment, they have to compare how the Alka-Seltzer tab is working in each separate liquid. A lot of our lessons touch on the scientific method and experimentation in general. So to further reinforce our concepts, we introduce activities like this because it allows independent exploration. By breaking up how one part of our experiment is essentially affecting another part in a separate experiment, we're establishing a control, which is really important here. This comparison portion kind of gives us a baseline to compare our main experiment to, and should show the kids that the other variables alone are not responsible for causing the main effect of bubbling and fizzing to make our lava lamp. Okay. We also tend to throw a lot of new information at the kids, and sometimes it can be a lot to digest or remember. So we include a recap with everything we went over in one place, and generally add questions to make them think one last time. The concepts we teach can also kind of be higher level and might be something that you also see in college or high school science classes. So going over them one last time helps with understanding, or may just help the kids become more familiar with these concepts. So when they see them again later in the future, they're not quite as daunting. This slide is essentially one final reminder of everything we went over in the lesson and aims to reinforce our concepts one last time. Okay, we also hyperlink our lessons. We generally take lessons from another source, and we just want to give those sources credit. Okay, so here are links to get involved. If you guys enjoyed our little presentation, or even if you didn't enjoy it, hey, still go check us out. Okay, cool. So if you guys have any questions, we might have some pre-prepared questions, go ahead and ask them.
Okay, so while we're waiting for people's questions, I'll just ask one of the pre-prepared ones. How have you grown as a person since you've joined Bit Project?
So for me, I am not an open person, so Bit projects really pushed me to like get out of my comfort zone and talk to other people. And while working in Microsoft events, I got to really speak up with kids, and those conversations really made me feel like much more confident on myself. And I also developed my skills like in writing up a STEM lesson by like introducing concepts using like easy understandable ways. And those ways also help me like learn some concepts such as like what we just talked about, density and polarity, that I am not really familiar with before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Winnie's spot on. You know, we've really like furthered how deeply we understand the concepts by being able to break them down and teach them to a younger audience. It's really helped my understanding of a lot of like biology concepts that seem like really simple. I also think being a part of Bit Project has helped me like improve my teaching skills because I'm interested in going into education. And I think through this and having lots of practice teaching, I've really become a better teacher. Well, hopefully I've become a better teacher.
Yeah, I like how Jasmine just mentioned about going into teaching, and I think even though I may not be going as getting my like teaching credential or anything in like the teaching field, I still enjoy teaching younger kids about like concepts that they don't really understand. I also gain like leadership opportunities in Bit project. So instead of talking to like adults, I feel like because I have the opportunity to talk to kids, my presentation skills are getting better, and yeah, it feels less intimidating. So I think we have a question. What sciences do you have lessons for, or like what subjects do you cover? It's from the question from the chat.
We cover all sciences, all STEM. I believe we covered almost every single science, including most of the aspects of engineering, like mechanical, civil, electrical, all the other engineering. But the only one we haven't really done yet is math. So if you have any math lessons, let us know and join.
I think we do a lot of STEAM too. Like we do a lot of artsy things that like look quite nice. Okay, how much teaching or STEM experience do students need to join the team? You don't need any experience at all. All we want you guys to have is, you know, like a desire to improve STEM education, or like if you really like kids and basically want to improve the way that they learn. That's all we need. You'll gain teaching skills and experience in STEM by doing this. So it's really not necessary at all.
I think
Also,
a lot of
oh,
times.
sorry.
Go ahead, Mary. Don't worry.
I was gonna say Jasmine teaches well too. She trains as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Sadly.
Well, I'm kind of dicey sometimes, I'll be honest.
But I just want to add on to like, you don't really need any experience. I feel like if you have a decent high school, middle school, but you're still interested in like STEM, you can always learn on the way. So for me, I didn't really learn anything about like astronomy or like weather charts. And I learned by making these projects. Sometimes we come across like concepts like polarity and we're like, oh, what's that? So yeah, just learn on the way. You don't really need a lot of experience.
Yeah, actually, you know, having experience in other fields or other subjects might even be helpful. Like you'll be bringing like a unique perspective to our lessons. So honestly, just be passionate about your work. And I think, you know, you'll do really well.
Okay, so there was another question. How do you plan on serving students in underserved communities in the future? So we're actually planning to like put together these boxes. Jasmine, do you want to talk more about it?
Yes, I will take this one. This question's actually a biggie because I think if there's one population of students that have suffered the most, it's probably those in underserved communities because they're losing out a lot here, you know, not only like from an educational perspective, but like free and reduced lunches, childcare, all that stuff. So I think it's really a community that we need to focus on giving back to. And our current plan is kind of to make lesson plan kits. So we'll send out boxes with all the pre-prepared materials that they would need to do it, like step-by-step guides, maybe even some cute merch and stuff that we can ship out to students so they can kind of do it independently. And there'll be several lessons kind of like themed in one box. So, you know, they'll have materials to do a couple lessons or do the lessons a couple different times if they really like it. And just we want these kits to be a way for kids who aren't, traditionally getting hands-on experience in science to still get that even through the pandemic.
Okay, so here's another pre-prepared question. What skills have you developed and what interests have you developed? So for me, I feel like I developed a lot of like teaching and writing skills. So like in the past, I would tutor young kids, but mostly in like math subjects. So I never really put together any curriculum for science things. And I feel like I found like enjoyment in like planning lessons together because like for us, we would have to like put a document together, then transfer everything to slides like right before we present. And I developed an interest in just like teaching in general. So that is a possible career path for me too.
That's great, Mary. Well, of course we need more good teachers, but like especially in science, because science people tend to be like, no, thank you. That's great. Let's see. I think my teaching skills have also hopefully improved. I mean, public speaking too, hopefully, like contrary to this, I think my public speaking skills and just amount of comfort I have, talking in front of people in large groups has really improved, which is helpful. And then writing, of course, like how many lesson plans do you write before being involved in something like this? Like none. So as someone who's interested in going into teaching, I think having strong writing skills and communication skills are really important, which has definitely like been refined and I think improved in my opinion through my work here.
I think for me, it's definitely talking to kids because I feel that a lot of people like can relate to this. Like usually when they're like, "Oh, you're gonna work with kids," they're like stiff and they're like scared on how they're gonna speak to them because the language, the tone, how what position your body is in because like you want to like crouch down like to their level because if you're like higher than them, it seems like there's like some type of like power dynamic going on. I don't know how to explain it, but
You're right. It's the same for
yeah,
children and large bears. You try to make yourself look smaller to be less.
yeah. So like volunteering for Bitquest and Bitcart, and also presenting the curriculum by using Microsoft Lives events definitely like helped me like how to talk to kids and that I shouldn't make a lot of assumptions.
Okay, this isn't a pre-prepared question or question that anyone has asked, but this is just a question I have. What has been your guys' favorite memory in Bit Project? Pre-COVID or post-COVID? Maybe both.
I really like the paper airplane rocket activity that we did for BitQuest because there was one kid in my group and then like he stuffed pom-poms in there. So we like, even though we didn't really say it, but we thought like, oh, that's kind of weird. So when he shot like his rocket out, like it actually flew. And I was like, wow, okay. So maybe we can redesign our rockets or something like that.
And I actually started to like work with Bit since COVID-19. So like my favorite memory, like my best memory was like making the paper plate weather chart because it was like my kind of like a first activity that's like I was doing. And I remember I was really nervous before like I started it, but like after like when I see the comments, like the kids are really like it, like I just feel like really great. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Winnie. Like whenever the kids have something cute to say or something nice to say to us, it just like makes our day. Also, sometimes they say really funny stuff, but we can't post their comments.
I think there was one time when like the kids were all like, wow, Monica, you draw so well. Like that really made our day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice when they compliment like our work.
For me, I think I loved every single event in Bitquest, every single 5 of them. It's just that before you were nervous and you're like, I don't know who these kids are, but eventually, like towards the end, you kind of like create a bond with them. You know all their names by then, and you're just like, I'm gonna miss seeing you every Saturday. Actually, you were fun, like to like talk to teach the concepts to. And a lot of the kids will surprise you. Like, for example, I remember the last event was our cell biology one. And then I asked, my opening question was, what's a cell? And the student named all the organelles. And I was like, wow, I didn't learn this until like I was like 5th grade. And that didn't even stick with me then. But he was just naming like the mitochondria, I forgot them already. I'm a biology major, but yeah.
Okay. So this is the end of our live stream. We hope that you learned a lot about our team and you enjoyed watching us do the activity and just discuss about what we like about primary ed and outreach in Bit Project. So if you guys want, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and visit our site, bitproject.org. Thank you.